Hello dear student, I am Dr. Vasant Boraste from KTHM College Nasik. Today I am going to discuss with you the chapter number 3 of the subject financial accounting, that is known as accounts from incomplete records, which is popularly known as single entry system. In this lecture we will discuss about the topic, that is accounts from incomplete records, which is known as single entry system. First of all, I will cover the various reasons of incomplete records, why entrepreneurs or businessmen or small shopkeeper maintain their record, or why the records are incomplete. Later on, we will discuss about the definition and meaning of single entry system. Further, we will discuss about the types of single entry system. Then I will focus on features of single entry system. After that, I will discuss about the distinction between double entry system and single entry system. And after this, we will discuss about the conversion of single entry into double entry, how it can be done, then methods of ascertainment of profit or loss, whatever it may be, how we can find out if there is a profit or loss for that particular business. After that, we will discuss about the process of conversion of single entry system into double entry system. And finally, I will discuss about the specimen of accounts which we have to prepare for calculating the profit or loss, or we can say for the conversion of single entry system to double entry system, which is required as per the double entry bookkeeping system. Here are some reasons of incomplete records. Why the businessman cannot maintain their record completely. First one is untrained accountant or businessman. Many times it happens that businessmen may not have a knowledge of double entry bookkeeping system. Or many times it happens that the accountant which is appointed for accounting, he doesn't have any kind of knowledge of double entry bookkeeping system, or he may be untrained person. Due to this, the accountant or businessman, or maybe a small shopkeeper, or maybe a small entrepreneurs who don't have the knowledge of double entry bookkeeping system, the accountant or businessman who may not have a complete knowledge of double entry bookkeeping system can hamper the business transaction, and it may be he record all the entries in a single entry manner. So this is the most important reason for incomplete record, where the accountant or businessman maintain his record on a single entry basis. Second one is ignorance. Many times the businessman ignores that if he maintain the record as per the double entry system, he may have to pay more money, or he may have to pay more attention and time. For this, he ignore that, and this becomes one of the major reason of incomplete records. Third one is destruction of books of accounts because of flood, fire, etc. Many times it happens, but it is an exceptional case. And last one is inadequate system. For double entry bookkeeping system, businessmen must have a knowledge of double entry bookkeeping system. But if he don't have knowledge, and as well as nowadays everywhere the accounting is through computerized. So if he don't have adequate system for maintaining the double entry bookkeeping system, or double entry knowledge, but double entry bookkeeping knowledge, at that time he cannot maintain the books of accounts in a double entry bookkeeping system. So he maintain in a simple way, it is called as single entry system. Final reason of incomplete record is loss during transition. It may happen in many cases. Here we will discuss about the meaning of single entry. What do you mean by single entry? The single entry means incomplete records refers to a condition wherein an establishment is not practicing double entry bookkeeping. Means what? Basically everywhere in the world, you can see every businessman have to maintain the record, or he have to maintain the books as per the double entry bookkeeping system. But it happens that double entry bookkeeping system is not in practice. So that's why the system or the businessman may maintain their records as per the single entry system. Small businesses cannot afford special accountant for the business. Many times it happens that accountant's salary If the business is small, at that time accountant cannot, or we can say the businessman cannot afford the salary of that particular accountant, so who is a special person. So at that time the businessman or an entrepreneur or a small shopkeeper may maintain their records as per the single entry system. Instead it is practicing an unconventional accounting system, namely a single entry system. Majority of businessmen maintain their record as per the single entry system, and later on, or we can say at the end of year, he contact with the particular tax consultant or accountant who may be who may help him to convert his single entry records into double entry system. Under a single entry system, it is reasonable to keep a cash basis income statement, although not a balance sheet. In a double entry system, everything is maintained as per, or everything has to be maintained as per the rules and regulations of double entry bookkeeping system. That is as per the personal, real, and nominal rule, as well as the rules of particular organization that may be uh, called as. And if there is a small business, there is a partnership at that time. The partnership act implied to that particular business. So as per that, in a single entity system, there is no requirement of that laws and regulations. So many times it happens that businessmen maintain their record as per single entity system. A single entry system is a mixture of single entry, double entry, or no entry. Many times it happens businessman maintain single entry, or many times he may not enter the transaction, or in certain cases he may be entered as per the double entry bookkeeping system. So this is the meaning of single entry system. Here we are going to discuss about the definition of single entry system. What is the definition? It's a very simple. A system in which accounting records are not made strictly according to the double entry principles of bookkeeping. So the basic principle of double entry bookkeeping system is that every debit must have a corresponding credit. But in a single entry system, it may not happen. That's why, or many times it happens, but it may be recorded only one aspect. Certain times it may be a two aspect, or many times there may be a no aspect or no entry. So it is called as a single entry system. That means where the records are not maintained as per the principles of bookkeeping. So the keynote or key point is that incomplete record is most important. In the above definition, you can see the records are maintained as per, or we can say records are incomplete. Bookkeeping and double entry principles are missing here. That's why it is called as single entry system. Here are the some types of single entry system. What is that? First one is pure single entry. Second one is quasi single entry, and third one is simple single entry. So in pure single entry, only personal accounts are kept. Say for example, goods sold to Mr. X. So at that time, only X account is maintained. No records for real and nominal. In this case, goods sold to Mr. X, that means goods are goes out, that is sales. So sales account is not maintained, only that particular X account is maintained. So personal accounts are maintained and real and nominal accounts are not maintained. So at that time it is called as pure single entry. Quasi single entry is what? Personal account, cash book and subsidiary books are kept, while other books are not maintained. So only personal account and cash book as well as some subsidiary books are maintained, but other accounts, which may be a real, which may be a nominal, which may be any other kinds of accounts, which is not maintained. Third one is simple single entry, where only personal accounts and cash book are kept separately. Other accounts are not maintained. So this is the basic three types of single entry system. Now we can see the features of single entry system. What are these? First one is personal accounts kept and real accounts and nominal accounts are ignored. So this is the most important features of single entry bookkeeping system or accounts from incomplete record system, where only personal accounts are kept. As I earlier mentioned that only personal accounts are kept, or we can say maintained, but real and nominal accounts are not maintained, or it may be ignored. Second one is there is absence of double entry system, that is twofold effect. As you know, every business transaction has at least two effect, that is we call it as a double entry bookkeeping system. Only try to maintain arithmetical accuracy. That means cash, if there is sale of rupees 20,000, the businessman only concentrate on the 20,000. He does not concentrate on the sale of that goods. He concentrated that he sold the goods of rupees 20,000 and he got the 20,000. That is the maintenance of arithmetical accuracy is there, but there is a lack of double entry system, or we can say a twofold effect. Flexible accounting system. Whatever businessman want, he maintain that books of accounts. Many times, if you don't want to maintain any books of accounts, at that time he does not maintain these books of accounts. Last one is mixture of double entry or single entry or no entry. As I earlier mentioned that the single entry bookkeeping system is many times there is a double entry, many times there is single entry, or many times there is no entry. That means he may be exclude the entry from the books of accounts, or he may be maintain it as per some entries are maintained as per double entry, some entries are maintained as per single entry, or many times many entries are excluded. So this is the distinction between double entry and single entry system. Here you can see the difference or distinction between double entry and single entry system. What is that? First of all, the principle. In a double entry bookkeeping system, the basic principle of double entry is maintained, that is, every debit has a corresponding credit. Say for example, goods are purchased from Mr. X, so at that time goods comes in and Mr. X is our seller. So in our case, he is our purchaser. So goods comes in, at that time we have to debit the goods account or purchase account, and if it is on credit basis, so we will credit to Mr. X. So that is twofold effect, or we can say a double effect or double entry bookkeeping principle. But in a single entry there is no basic principle, so whatever you want you maintain. Second one is aspect, twofold aspect or two effect, that is first one is debit, second one is credit. In a single entry many time it may be a 1, it may be a 2, it may be a no effect. Preparation of cash book and ledger. In a double entry bookkeeping system, the preparation of cash book and general ledger as well as debtors and creditors are maintained, or any other books of accounts are maintained as per the requirements of books. But in a single entry system, only debtors and creditors accounts are maintained. As earlier mentioned, many times only the businessman maintain only the personal accounts rather than the real and nominal account. Nature of accounts. So the nature of accounts in a double entry system is personal, real and nominal, while in a single entry system only personal accounts are maintained. The next point is trial balance. Arithmetical accuracy as well as trial balance can be prepared in a double entry system, but in a single entry there is no possibility to maintain the prepare the trial balance. Profit or loss, can ascertain the profit or loss. In a single entry it is not possible to find out the business have got some profit or not. Financial position, actual financial position through the balance sheet, profit and loss. We can find out the profit and loss as well as the actual financial position from balance sheet we can ascertain. But in a single entry system only statement of affairs are maintained, and from this we cannot ascertain, or we cannot find out the position of business, that is financial position of business. Adjustment can be done in double entry system through balance sheet date also, but in single entry system there is no provision of adjustment. Here is the methods of ascertainment of profit or loss. First of all, in a single entry system we have to prepare a statement of affairs, that is first method, where statement of affairs method, under which we can prepare opening capital, closing capital. Comparison between this opening capital and closing capital we can call as profit or loss. So this is the first method, that is statement of affairs method. The formula for calculating or closing balance sheet is here. Opening balance sheet is equal to assets is equal to liabilities plus capital, and change in period, that is change in asset, is equal to change in liabilities plus capital. So this is the formula of closing balance sheet. And the conversion of single entry into double entry system is the most easy and convenient way of maintaining the books of account under single entry system, through which we can calculate the profit or loss of particular business. So here is the process of single entry system into double entry system. So process of conversion from single entry to double entry. First step is to prepare cash and bank summary, that is opening and closing cash sales, purchases, drawings. Second step is prepare debtors account, that is opening balance or closing balance of debtors, creditors, sales. bills receivable collection from debtors. So this is the second step of conversion of single entry into double entry. Third one is bills receivable account, through which we can calculate the opening balance, closing balance, bills receivable and bills receivable endorse if any. And fourth step is prepare creditors account, where we have to maintain the opening balance, closing balance, as well as creditors purchases, payment to credits and bill payable accepted if any we have to maintain. The fifth step of the conversion of single entry into double entry system is bills payable account we have to maintain. For this we have to calculate, or we have to maintain its through opening balance of bills payable, closing balance, then bills payable accepted and discharge. After that, we have to prepare the stock account, where we have to maintain opening, closing stock, as well as total purchases, cost of goods sold, as well as shortage if any is there. The seventh step is revenue expenses account. We have to maintain, where we have to clear that opening as well as closing balances of revenue expense account, prepared expenses and expenses paid if any. The eighth step of conversion of single entry into double entry system is revenue income account, opening balance, closing balance of accrued income received, current year's income. So this is the process of single entry system into double entry system. Later on, we have to calculate the fixed assets account. Say for example, any assets of, say for example, building. At that time, the opening cost of building as well as closing cost of building. Then if any floor, any construction is there, at that time we purchase some building or purchase some material. So sales, if there is any kind of sales and depreciation or profit and loss. So the fixed asset can be calculated. Step 10 is opening capital through statement of affairs. As earlier mentioned, that we have to calculate the capital of business. Finally, we have to prepare the trial balance and trading profit and loss account, as well as balance sheet. So this is the steps of our process of conversion from single entry to double entry system. Here are accounts from incomplete records. While calculating or while preparing the double entry bookkeeping system, if you have some shortage information, or you have information in a single entry methodology, at that time we have to maintain some accounts. So in that case, we have to prepare some statement of affairs. For preparing the statement of affairs, debtors account, bills payable account, we must have to know what to do and how to do. So missing information is what? We have to calculate, or we have to find out the cash. So for finding the cash, how much cash you have received in the year and how much cash you paid in a particular year, we can find out in a cash and or bank summary, total sales minus net credit sales. So there are some hints through which we can find out the cash. Then net credit sales. So we can calculate the net credit sales through the debtors account, as well as total sales minus cash sales minus sales return. So you can find out here the credit sales. Then net sales. So there are three methods, or there are three hints through which you can calculate the net sales, that is cash sales plus credit sales minus sales return, called as net sales, or cost of goods sold plus gross profit, or gross profit into 100 divided by rate of gross profit on sales. So these are three ways to calculate or to find out the net sales. Fourth missing figure or fourth missing information is COGS. You can find out the net sales through COGS, but if you don't have a COGS, that is cost of goods sold, so in that case you have to find out the COGS. So for calculating the COGS, or for finding out the COGS, you have to maintain the opening stock plus purchases plus direct purchases, for example carriage, cartridge, etc., minus closing stock. So you will get the COGS. Or there is another method, that is net sales minus gross profit or stock amount. It may be called as COGS. Fifth one is gross profit. We can calculate is add net sales into rate of GP divided by 100, or net sales minus COGS. The next missing information may be a cash purchases. You can prepare a cash book and bank summary, as well as total purchases minus net credit purchases, through which you can now find out the net purchases. Later on, you have to find out the net credit purchases. In the same way, the credit sales, you can calculate the net credit purchases. Prepare total creditors accounts, total purchases minus cash purchases minus purchase return, or closing creditors into 100 divided by credit period received in a month. So these are some methodology. In example, we will discuss it more clearly. Next one is net purchases, cash purchases plus credit purchase minus sales return, through which you can calculate the net purchases. Or another method is that COGS plus closing stock minus opening stock. And last one is stock account. Next, missing information or next information you can calculate through collection from debtors. So total debtors account, as well as you have to prepare the cash or bank summary, through which you can calculate the, or you can find out the collection from debtor, that how much amount you have been received from the debtors. Next one is payment to creditors, where you can calculate it from the total creditors account as well as cash and bank account summary. The next missing information, it may be a bills receivable drawn or received. At that time, you have to prepare bills receivable account as well as total debtors account. After that, if there is a bills payable, it is completely versus to the bills receivable, that is bills payable account as well as total creditors account. Bills receivable collected. So here bills receivable drawn. Here you collect some bills receivable from the debtors. So at that time, bills receivable account as well as cash and bank account summary. Bills payable discharge. Here you accept the bills for third party. That means you are payable for particular amount. Here, if you paid that amount, that is discharge of bills payable. So it may be calculated through bills payable account as well as cash and bank account summary. Bills receivable dishonor. Say for example, you accept somebody's accepted bills receivable which is drawn on you, and you at that time, if bill is dishonor, at that time you can calculate it through bills receivable account as well as total creditors account. Next one is bills receivable endorsed dishonor, which if you have received one bill and you endorse that bill to Mr. XYZ, at that time, if the bill is dishonored by third party from whom you received that bill, at that time the bills receivable is called as bills receivable dishonor. In that case, you can find out it through total debtors as well as total creditors account. The next information, missing information, may be a drawings. It can be calculated through cash and bank summary, cash bank balance stolen by cashier. In certain cases, it may be happen that cash may be stolen by cashier. At that time, you can calculate it through cash and bank summary. Opening capital can be calculated from the opening balance sheet. Current year sales, it's very easy. You can calculate previous year sales plus change due to change in sales or minus change due to change in sales. Last one is current year revenue expenses. It may be you can calculate it through preparing revenue expenses account or expenses paid plus outstanding plus prepaid in beginning or minus prepaid at the end. So these are some hints for calculating the single entry system into double entry system. Accounts from incomplete record. The next missing information may be a current year revenue income. You can calculate it from prepare. You have to prepare revenue income account as well as income received plus accrued at the end plus unaccrued in the beginning, accrued in the beginning, or minus unaccrued at the end. So these are some hints, and finally the final hints is opening and closing balance of any other items. You have to prepare that particular respective item. So these are some hints through which you can calculate the missing information or the information which you don't have, or the accounts or the statement or the financial position of your business, through which through the various hints you can calculate. So this is the accounts from incomplete records. These are the some specimen which you have to prepare in this topic. First one is total debtors account. You have to prepare where the opening balance must be, as you know, the debtors means a personal account, that is the person from whom we are going to be received some amount. So he is our debtor. So at that time, his balance must be a debit balance. So if there is opening balance, you have to maintain it on the debit side, that is to balance brought down. If bill is dishonor, it has to be recorded on the debit side, and if there is a credit sales to Mr. Debtors, so the debtors account will be debited. If you received some amounts from debtors, at that time it will be credited to credit debtors, that is debtors will be reduced. So on the credit side, cash received. If there is a bills receivable, you are going to be received from the debtors. So bills receivable during the year will be credited to debtors account. If there is a sales return from the debtors, so if there is a sales, it has to be debited to debtors. But if there is a sales return, it has to be recorded on the credit side of the debtors account. If there is some bad debts or discount allowed or allowances given to the debtors, it has to be credited to debtors account. And finally the total debit amount or debit side amount will be minus, uh, and you have to calculate the balance carried down. So total credit side will be deducted from the total debit side. After that you can calculate the balance of total debtors account. After the debtors, you have to prepare bills receivable account. Here bills receivable is a real account, and here you have to maintain the balance. That is, if there is opening balance, you have to prepare it on the debit side. If there is a debtors, that means you have been received from received bills receivable from the debtor, so it has to be debited. If there is bill endorsed, at that time you endorse that bill to your creditors, so that particular creditors will be debited and your bills receivable account will be created. If you received any amount from these bills receivable, that is cash received, will be credited on the credit side. And debit side of the bills receivable always be an higher amount, so it will be adjusted and minus the credit side, and balance will be credited over here, that is balance carried down. This is the specimen of total creditors account. So here you can see the creditors means a person to whom we have to pay some money. So that means he is our creditors, that is his balance is always credit balance, so his balance will be brought down. Then if there is a bill dishonor, will be created, and if there is a credit purchases, it will be created and purchases will be debited. On the reverse side, that is on the debit side, if you paid some money to the creditors, at that time creditors will be debited. If you accepted bills receivable, that sorry bills payable, so bills payable will be credited and total creditors will be debited. If bills receivable are endorsed, in the earlier slide we have seen that if bills receivable is endorsed, so it is endorsed to creditors, so that means here the bills receivable is endorsed to creditors, so creditors account will be debited and bills receivable account will be created. If there is any purchase return or return outward or discount received, or it will be recorded over here. This is the specimen of bills payable account, where we can see the bills payable is must have a credit balance. So the creator bills payable account will be created. That is, the credit balance of bills payable will be brought forward, brought from the last year over here. If there is a creditors, that means you accept some bills payable will be created, that is amount of creditors will be over here. If you pay to the bills payable, it will be debited on the bills payable account, and if there is any balance, will be debited on the debit side, that is to balance carried down. So in this way we have completed the first uh, lecture of single entry system, that is accounts from incomplete record. Thank you very much. In the next lecture, we will see another some introductory part of this topic. Thank you.